Welcome back to the channel. My name's Brad, Supercoach Pro. Today we're doing a round 6 Supercoach team review. Before we get into it, thank you for everyone tuning into the live stream last night. Did it for like 3 hours. Don't know how, but the questions kept coming through, and yeah, got a fair amount of new folk that I hadn't seen before. So thanks for everyone for jumping on board, giving it a like and sub as well. So yeah, it's been good fun in the chats and some random things in there, and yeah, really good fun. So thank you for that. And even a Shorty from Shorty Supercoach was in there, so that was really fun to get Supercoach Royalty in there. So anyway, starting off this side this week, we had a bit of carnage. I had Young and Stewart in there, so a little bit of a downfall with my team, but it's just sort of luck, so I'm not too fussed so far. We scored 19-16, as you can see. Only lost just under 1,000 spots, moved down to 7,962, which is okay. The team value is pretty high. I mean, there was a lot of guys in the comments and stream saying they've got 12.7, which is really impressive, to be honest, at this time of year. So, yeah, we'll get stuck in the side, review the players, see what we're going to do change-wise. We've got a short turnaround, so do remember there's a Wednesday game, there's also a Thursday 3:20 game, and then a Thursday 7:30 game. So there's a lot of short turnaround because we won't even know the teams until after the 2 games have been played. So it's a little bit difficult, but we'll navigate through it the best we can. She's, yeah, got a bit of a McGuinness tag I hear, so 110. I actually went for a drive after half time because I just, it's a hard game to watch. Their ball skills are pretty bad in that game, to be honest. A lot of turnovers. So, yeah, 110 from him's okay if you captain him. Yeah, I mean, it would have been the game to go for, regardless of the McGuinness tag, in my opinion. And then, yeah, Dacos bounced back game, 133, started off really slow, worked his way into it and came through with a nice score. But yeah, a little bit concerning watching Dacos sometimes. It's like if Collingwood aren't getting up, sometimes he just lags behind. You don't even notice him for a long time. And you're like, what are you doing? Then when Collingwood got on top, he sort of came in the picture a bit more. And funny enough, it's almost like Will Hoskin-Elliott was the barometer of that game and sort of gave them momentum. So yeah, Dacos, I think he's a nice VC candidate, but I am worried about a Durham tag. We saw what he did to the Bonts. So yeah, not too sure about my VCs and Cs early, but I'm thinking Dacos into Bont unless I see anything else. Young 79, or that was off like 54% game time. They took him off because they had like a hammy awareness, so that's a little bit annoying. For me, I brought him in. I brought Garcia in early as well. I went early on the St Kilda rookie because he wasn't named sub. And then, yeah, grabbed Compton up forward, which we'll speak about shortly, who played forward ridiculously by Clarko, but we're not there yet. Stewart, yeah, subbed out the game. Concussion. Look, you're just going to hold him if you're an owner, to be honest. He'd be a great price if you're a non-owner in 2 weeks' time. He's got a break even of like 130. So, yeah, disappointing that my primos are in the same line of sort of hurt. Best 18 hasn't hurt me too bad, but if this was best 22 week, we're looking at like a 10K, 15K drop easily. So that's really concerning. Massimo again, like just carnage in the backline. Like last week we saw how many backlines did well, and then Massimo gets subbed. So 60 off like 50% game time is not bad. I think that's what it was. I'll have a look. If you didn't already know, if you want to have a look at how much game time they sort of played to get a rough idea. You come into here and you can see points per minute. So you can see he only had 63 minutes. He's been averaging about 90 to 100. So you can see he missed at least a quarter and a bit. So yeah, concerning for Massa owners. I'm actually not sure what to advise you here. I mean, his break even's quite low, so I'm reluctant to say hold. And you just hope that in the last game or second to last game of the round that he's not named sub, or else he kind of stuffed. So risky. Look, you can probably, where are they? They're the last game, so you can probably take a punt and just get rid of him if you wanted to, because you don't want to sub in best 22 format. Closey, yeah, 75, sort of came in and out of the game a bit when I watched it, and I was looking for him a lot. He tried to link up as much as he could, but the Sydney game was always going to be a lot tougher. Now they've got a nice run. He's definitely a fieldable rookie, and I think he's better than Zach Williams, of course, and that's why I fielded him over Williams this week. I had a feeling Williams would do some injury sometime soon, like just William antics of scoring well and then catfishing you into fielding him, and then he'll do an injury. So I wasn't falling for that trap, but look, honestly, he's made me 100K, so can't complain too much. And then Hoare, I'm really hoping he comes back this week because that will solve my Stewart and Young dilemma. So yeah, the team can look out of shape pretty quickly if you haven't upgraded like your rookies as well and sort of got players on field, because if there's sides that don't have, rookie cover, right, they're fielding a Reed, Caulfield, now they've got Young or a Stewart in the back line or both, you kind of really have to trade your primos, and that's where I don't want to do that, and that's probably why I've sideways rookies early, and yeah, it's a weird one. It's whatever you want to do. Then yeah, Butters 127. You take that for a captain option. Always managed to hit the sticks, and yeah, just a good player. 127 is his average. I just don't think he's got history against St Kilda. If you want to have a look at it, I might go over this a little bit more, but yeah, just don't want to chew up the time. Look, his history 96, 89, 39, but we do got to remember Butters played a lot forward through his career. Then Bontempelli, yeah, I think this is a good shout this week. I mean, at Optus Oval, he's gone 182. It's a bigger ground. Can score well, looks better in form. I'm just worried that he is playing a little bit injured. I know it's a little bit of a big call, but we've seen him just crashing back bash the last few weeks, and I'm hoping he can pull through, because I haven't seen the Bont of old where he's going 160, 180. So I'm just a little bit concerned there. Steele, yeah, not concerned about this one. Look, I traded him round one. I did captain him a few times, but he's got a good fixture. I mean, he's got North and Hawthorn in the next couple. I'm not panicking stations. And if you're a Tom Green owner and players like that, just they'll come good eventually. So just upgrade your primos around them. Upgrade your rookies and get one up instead of, worrying about sidewaysing and primo. No point, honestly, this time of year. It's upgrade the season, not sideways season. If you go sideways before the cash gen, spikes in players going up and down, etc. Anyway, Caleb Sarong was my captain, so I didn't watch Brisbane and Geelong, so I can't give you any take on that, to be completely honest, because I was on Sarong watch and Harley Reid watch, and that was an amazing game. 117, look, he worked a lot for the ball, but just he's very handball friendly, and then when he does kick it, he sort of just kicks it up high and hopes that a Freo player will mark it. I expect his average to climb a little bit now that Darcy's back in the side, but yeah, look, he's at least a safe C option, because he's going to hunt the ball. It just spends a lot of time on bench though. Like, I don't think his time on ground's been very good from just watching. Like, I'm always on his watch, like having a look where he is, but he's got a good fixture coming up. He's got the Tigers in a couple of weeks. 94 minutes, you want it back up to that 117. Like, that's where he smashed out that 170. Even the 103 mark, he smashed out a 141. So points per minute's really good. You can see the 1.5, 1.4, 1.2. So when he's on the field, you can get it, but maybe he's just a little bit gassed. Maybe, he's starting to feel it now, because his minutes is definitely decreasing throughout the weeks. And it could be just stuck on one side of the wing too. Like, it depends which games you're watching, because some players can't get back on the ground, so it's not necessary that they're gassed. I should just say that. And Flanders halfback role, if you haven't got him, I mean, his price hasn't really progressed too much. Like, you've only lost out 84K, but he's just so consistent no matter where he plays. He's definitely keeping Sexton out. Like, you can see how consistent he's been even throughout his halfback switch. And that means more game time for Graham, because he's getting CBAs and putting tackling pressure. And I wouldn't mind fielding him this week, because he's got West Coast, so I don't mind some of these Gold Coast rookies getting on. Miller, yeah, he was just junk time the last quarter. Couldn't find it, but nor could Noah Anderson. So for me, I'm not concerned, because both their midfielders couldn't find it. Only one that could was Rao. He just had it on a string. So for me, yeah, took 88. That's another sub 100 for him. The first sub 100 wasn't his fault. He just got burnt in that fourth. This one, just a game where he couldn't get the ball, or like, he was just getting burnt a lot, and he just does. Probably why he's got a nice tan. Roberts, 117. That's probably a bad joke, but just trying to be funny, not really. Yeah, look, he's a rookie you probably should never consider getting rid of at any point. Like, you look at his scorings, 76, 69, 94, 98, 80, bit of a nuffy if you got rid of him. In complete honesty, like, his 3-round average was pretty decent. Like, I know you need cash gen, but he's taking kick-outs. You got to look at DFS and look at kick-ins, and the bloke is the one rookie that's been consistent all year. So, look, if you traded him out, what are you doing? Like, he's a good pick. Like, he's going to go 450K, and you're going to be hitting walls and drinking Monster Energy drinks at some point, because you just got to keep this bloke. He's a decent player. He loves to intercept mark. Sharp, yeah, he can probably go. He's break even 72. He hasn't done much. Like, you probably shouldn't have brought him in after that 126. I think I did recommend it wasn't worth the punt. Like, he was already 250K. And I did think he was going to regress to 60s anyway. I never really thought anything much of this wing roll. I Yeah, I mean, he's made a hell of a lot of cash. He went him over Carroll. Well done. You could only pick one, and he just had the better job security. That's the only reason I went there. And saying that, I've made some bad mistakes this year. So I'm not roasting anybody. I'm just saying these things as we go. Wilson, yeah, his scoring's picked up in the last 2 weeks. I'm liking what I'm seeing from him now. Like, it's sort of like he's building his game a little bit. He's not scoring these sort of games anymore, which is nice. But you can see he's just consistent for a 60, really. So you're probably going to average him as soon as his break even gets to 60. That's when you want to cull him. So that would be about like 280K ish, maybe close to 300. Yeah, I'd say you have to cull. Graham, you can keep for a while. I think he's got a decent run coming up. I didn't want to field him because I had a feeling that Swans would be a tougher matchup. And rookies, I just base on who they're playing, to be completely honest. So yeah, 61. Still, his game time's okay. His points per minute one is good. He still likes to put on tackles. Like, he only had 5 tackles because his disposals were all over this game. So instead of getting like 15, 16 touches, he only touched it 11 times. So that will always affect Graham. But he had the Swans, and then Garcia. I think if you need a rookie, he's the rookie you'd be going on. 5%, I think that should be about 25 by the end of the round. If people are serious, they're probably scared off by the sub game, but you can see he had points per minute is pretty high there. And then, 69. So his tackle numbers are something that will keep his score going, like 7 in the first, 9 in that one, but he had 2 free kicks against and 1 here. So his score could have been a lot better for this one. He could have been on about 80 if he didn't give free kicks away. It would have been handball friendly, but surely he's got the midfield role over Zach Jones, that peanut. And then, Marshall, 51. I don't really want to talk about it. I mean, I suppose you look at his stats and you can have a look what his downfall was that game. You're not trading him. You're not trading him or English or anything like that, but it's disappointing that Meek beat him this week. So his time on ground was significantly lower. We can see that. His fantasy stats, how many free kicks did he give away? Only the 2, just couldn't get the ball, couldn't accumulate it. I mean, Saints got smashed. So if you got any Saints play, you're probably not concerned because it's just one of those games where you get belted and the points aren't going to you. So he had 11 disposals as opposed to like 20s. He didn't get many marks around the ground as opposed to his previous games, 3. So this is really frustrating for me. It's probably his worst game, and hopefully he's got to bounce back. He's got a good Marvel run coming up, and he's still got West Coast twice, even though West Coast knocked off Freo. Miki Train, we're on board. It's the one pod player that's decent. Now, I don't know if you guys tuned in a couple of weeks ago, but the Meek play was specifically for Meek to outscore Gorn in 2 weeks as the R2. So if people got R2 and they've got Gorn, or probably R1 actually, and he scored the 138. I needed Meek to score over 138 in 2 weeks, and then I was going to go Meek to Gorn, but I don't have the funds to do that, so I'm waiting to go to Meek to English. So he's got 97 and 81. So he has beat Gorn's score, so that was the play. So I'm probably, I don't know how many points up, really, 40 points up roughly on Gorn owners, but not for the year. Like, I'm getting smashed by Gorn owners, and it's probably my only downfall for this starting side, to be honest. I feel like that was where my sliding doors moment is, and it could hurt me at the end of the season. It probably still will. But Heaney, I started with 659. It was probably a good thing for owners didn't captain him because he still scored a 98. I just feel like he was a little bit underscaled. I don't complain too much about this, but I felt like he had a really good game. I was quite surprised to see his score at the end of it. Now, whether it's Taylor Adams affecting his CBAs, I might have to look into DFS and see if they've dropped off a little bit. But for me, he just looked like such a hard game to be so contested. Like, he's still a contested player, but he does have outside game as well. And the game just looks so congested everywhere in the field. Like, every stoppage, there was more players than I can ever remember in such a game. That's why Rao did really well. It's just such a contested game, in my opinion. So, like, he still had 5 tackles. Like, the numbers look good. Maybe his disposal efficiency, you have to look into that. He still had it 28 times, but 2 free kicks against. Surely, that knocks that 98 he could have been a 110, but yeah, certainly. I think he regresses from here and he's like a 110, 115 average bloke. I don't think he's a 140 bloke. He always has hot starts. And look, if you started him, well done. And if you didn't, well, stuff paying that much money for him now. Like, you haven't missed it, but where are you going to get the funds? Jackson, yeah, 90. Look, he's still averaging 107 for those who started him. I'm not concerned. I'm holding him there. There's no other good forwards. If you want to bring in Zorko on the live stream, I've got a lot of questions about Zorko. And it's each their own. Like, Zorko could probably still average you around the hundreds, but if you're not taking any other risk in any other line, then yeah, take the punt. But if you've already got a Fife, a Zach Williams, an Elliot Yeo, I wouldn't be doing it. If it suits your team and you think you got the flexibility with DPPs even, and you can put him on your bench for a week or two if he gets injured or whatever, if you've got the flexibility, but if you've got dead rookies, don't go Zorko. Because I see a lot of teams missing 4 or 5 rookies, and then I'm like, well, who are you going to field if your premium goes down for a week? And we'll have Ulgamais in a second when it comes to Stewart and Young out. But yeah, I mean, if you want to take the punt on Zorko, by all means. But he's 35. He's got a lot of soft tissue injuries, and yeah, I just don't know. Powell, concerning, I called this a week or two ago. I don't think he's an F6 keeper potentially. Maybe I'm a little bit hot on this trigger too early, but he just sort of sub 100. I don't know what to think of him. I can't really get a gauge. When North don't play well, which they never really do, he looks like a guy that you may as well just run Fife. I'm disappointed with Powell. I jumped on the train because I was a little bit, FOMO if you're missing out, that he was going to be an unreal pick and I'd have to pick him up for 500k, and you don't want to pick up North Melbourne players for 500k and what's his name, Shees. And then Reed, yeah, this is not a stick at people. Like, I don't blame you. I was on the same sort of boat after this 50 score. I thought, oh, maybe you could sideways into Dempsey or do something with this pick because he doesn't look that good. Then he bangs out a 91 and 108. And then, you see some people don't field him after the 108. Rookie roulette, but like, the man's on fire. Just field him. I'd almost say that if you really needed an F6, he could be the guy you bring in. Like, he just looked that good. Maybe he catches fire, maybe he regresses, but 393k is probably the last time you jump on him. If you didn't start him, he's such an antipod, and that really hurts because 78% of the competition getting the leg up on you. And there's just no good forwards. So, like, I might have a deep dive into forwards and who to go for, but like, I don't want to take risks on key forwards like Mackay, Curnow. The only one I like is Jezza. But even then, he did bad. I mean, Hawkins is going to be cheap. But do you risk it with those guys, or do you try to go for a Jai Clydewell, which is in the comments from, I don't really like J's. He likes to pick. So there is certain players that CBAs might come and be increasing, and that might be a Clydewell pick for like 450k, but I'd like another look at it. So there is some good picks out there, but it's just like whether you want to take a punt on a pod can really break your season or make it. So Combin is another one. Like, he had 40 points at halftime, then he got moved forward after halftime. So that's really annoying. I actually don't know. I can't get a gauge on this now because it really depends on team sheets. If North bring a forward, he will be all right. But if they don't and leave him forward with Zohar and Larky, this is a bad pick all of a sudden. Before that, he was intercepting. He was on fire. So now I'm worried, but he had 8 disposals and 55 points, and that was because of intercepts. Like, if he was in the back line and stayed in the back line that game, I 100% think he would have scored 95 plus. So I'm concerned, but he's break even and he's made already 60, 70k. His break even's 33. He's made 60k. That's not bad. I mean, that is a higher price. I didn't want to go him over Biggie. Biggie scored like a 47 and I reckon he gets dropped. I'm death riding Biggie. I do admit that. And if he turns out well for you guys, then well done, but just could never see it at Richmond. So I don't know. Darcy's another one. If Wob gets dropped, we're okay. But if Wob does not get dropped, we are absolutely stuffed. Wob killed it for him, in honesty. Just the way he was lining up, they were looking for Wob and all the other forwards. Excuse me. And then Cadman's 60. You're almost going to keep him because Green and Hogan are suspended. You could almost field him against Brisbane, but then does he get Harris Andrews? I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see the team sheets for that one. So that worries me. Like, he might be the go-to man at Giants, but does he get the best defender? I don't know. Who else have they got in their forward line? They're the main two that I can think of. I know there's like Riccardi and stuff as well, but yeah, I've never been a big fan of Riccardi. Kalmus, yeah, he's probably time to go at some point too. He's slowly made K. He's been a good starting rookie, good pod rookie, 4% of size, and he's been really good for my team. Now, I don't know what to do with my trades because I don't know the situation on Williams, how long he's injured for. I don't know Stewart, Young, nothing. I have no idea, no read on any of these. I assume Stewart's not playing because concussion, so it's a 12-day protocol, so I can rule him out. Young, we're waiting for a medical report. Injuries are always on the Tuesday. But you can swap out your side. I want to show you something pretty cool. You can swap out your side without making trades. So you're going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? So let's hypothetically look at it this way. So let's say I move Buku Karmas, but I bring him back in. So I've got to remember this. Now, I haven't done this in a long time because it's been a while. So do forgive me if it's all a bit everywhere. Pretty sure you can move your side around and bring him back in, and just it's gonna mind boggle you guys potentially. How do I do this? So I want to bring Flanders forward. I've done that. Can I bring anyone else forward to the midfields? I think I can trade him back in to the back line and then have a look. See if he'll do it for me. I know you can. Western Bulldogs. Maybe you can do it on an app a little bit better, but can I bring Buku back in? I know you can, but I just can't remember how. I know you don't have to use a single trade to do it. So let's just say, hypothetically, I grab O'Donnell in the back line, right? And this is how you play around your side. It's a bit of a glitch. I'm not sure anyone else will show you this or knows about it. But then if I bring Buku back in, he's now in my back line without making a single trade. I know you guys are probably mind boggled because when I first discovered this, I was like, how the heck does that work? But you can. You don't even have to use a trade. So Buku comes back in. Oh, we did it. We did it. We're a fraud. We're an absolute genius. In fact, call me Einstein from now on. So I've potentially moved Buku back, and it means I can swing Flanders into the forward line, which I didn't have the option of then, and then probably fielding Cadman over Comden in case he plays forward. Darcy I'll name over Cadman if he is not named with Wob. And then my back line, I don't know. So let's just assume that I can actually put Young. And this is the beauty about DPP, and this is why you should have Holder Roberts and players like that. I can put Young into my midfield because of the swing if he's not named. Let's just do this. Stewart gets covered by Roberts. Buku plays down back. I don't love it. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm saying keep these guys. Have I fixed everything? So yes, I have. Massimo, we're not sure he's going to get subbed or not. So he can go to the bench. And this is potentially without making a single trade if you're smart about what you do. I'm sorry if I've mind-blown you. But I've used 0 trades to get Stewart in my bench, not bring in a single player, keep Massimo on the bench in case he is not sub. But I don't know. I don't mind fielding Garcia this week against Port Adelaide. I think it'll be a contested game. And his break-even's quite low. So I could hold him there. And if Williams isn't injured, I could potentially not use a single trade, all thanks to DPP. However, if Williams is injured, I will have to trade him out because I have no other options. Now, the other thing I can look at, bear with me, I don't want to waste too much time because you guys just want to see what I'm doing on my side. But if I want to trade speculative picks, and this is what I love about live streams, they make you look at players that you wouldn't necessarily look at because you're looking at something else. I was saying about a 400k pod, and there's a guy that got injured and he scores relatively well, averages 90s, and could do a role for you. Then I got comments about Jack Bowes, Lockie Ash, and players that if you trade out two rookies could be not a bad upgrade that can do a role for your side without having to sideways your primos. Because potentially instead of going Stewart to Ryan or something like that, or Young to whatever, in 2 weeks' time when that player's back, I could have him plus a Bowes, and you're running a rookie plus a Ryan, but now I've got Bowes and Young versus Ryan and McAuliffe. So every day of the week I'm winning that, really, unless Ryan goes 180. But so there's different avenues to play in this game, and they're probably both ready to go. Like you don't want him as a sub risk, and you don't trust Williams because well he's made out of butter. So, but it just doesn't give you a lot rookie wise this week, and this is what I'm getting asked a lot in the comments as well: is who do you grab this week? Now for me, there's no one I really like apart from Hugh Garcia that I went early on, which is annoying. And I sort of haven't played my cards right, to be completely honest. McAuliffe is the guy, unless you guys can think of anybody else, and don't say Biggie because you guys know I'm not a fan. And then in the back line, I could do this, or I could field Will Graham, in all honesty, in the back line against West Coast, who probably put a lot of tackle pressure there. So, look, if I'm grabbing anyone for 560, in all honesty, I'm probably going Jordan Clark. I don't like anybody else. Don't talk about Harris Andrews. I do like Bowes because of his role change. We've seen him score well with CBAs, and then when danger comes back, he plays well down half back flank. So, yeah, he's one that could do a role, or I could just send it for Jordan Clark. Now, I got asked about Jordan Clark in the comments, and I thought I'd have a look, see if he bounced back from the 80s games he was having. So this game we saw, he gave away that free kick. So probably around that 95, 100 close to, and then it cost him the game. So, well, it didn't really cost him the game, but you know what I'm saying? So he's only had one bad score. So for 508k, Fremantle's run coming up. Dogs, Richmond, Sydney, St Kilda, it's not too bad. I mean, it's not awful, but I don't mind taking a punt on him. Or instead of loading up on too many Fremantle players, because I've got Fremantle players, I do have a lot. I could go Zorko. Just kidding. That's an absolute trap and a half for me at some point. I could be wrong, and if he does well, then you can roast me in the comments at some point. Dawson is one I want 1 week on. I do, but I really wouldn't mind taking a punt considering his fixture. I mean, do we do it? Do we just send it for him? I'm very tempted. I would be lying if I said I have not considered this 100 times in 100 seconds. He's got North. He's got West Coast. Excuse me. He's not a bad M8. Like, if I'm doing this, I'm getting a primo after this. I'm not going to go any cheapies. You got a couple 90s and a few really bad 60s and 80s, and that was from free kicks against and just playing poor, can't hit a target, etc. But he has to bounce back at some point. So, or you go around 3-round average. Now you guys are going to think it's an awful pick. I didn't really get any comments about Hewitt, but I always like George Hewitt. I think he can do a role. I think he can average around 108-ish. I mean, there's a YouTuber that has him, and he's a pretty decent guy, and he's got a good ranking every single season, and he's fielding this guy. So 106, apart from the 76, you take that out, like you got a 124, 103, 105, 110. So it's not VC or captain worthy like a Dawson would be. And Dawson can flatter down these bad scores by huge scores. So I don't hate, I appreciate. But do you take the punt, or do you think that potentially an LDU's bounce back? I don't know. I don't know where to go this avenue. I think Dawson, look, he takes a kick out here and there. Does he move back? Does Crouch's roll? Does Crouch even come back? In all honesty, like, he's just handball friendly. What does he do meters gained wise? Probably nothing. Probably retracts 200 meters. But I don't know. They need something different in the Adelaide midfield, and Dawson looked great. And Adelaide looked like a better side without Crouch potentially. I don't know, Crom fans, maybe you guys can help me out. But I wouldn't mind full sending it and taking a punt at 530K for Dawson because I haven't paid 600K, so I'm not going to be disappointed. Am I? I don't know. So Williams and Mass goes, I buy a 560K player. I can't get Walsh, or else I'd probably be on board that plane. Um, I'm like 16K short and a brain cell, but that's what I could do. And I can't do Sharp in case anyone in the comments says Sharp and Mass for the money. I'm still like 6K short. So I could do that. And what does it fix? I still got a field Buku, and I hate that. Or I feel Combin if yuck, just both yuck. Um, I don't know what to do really with my side. If you guys can think of a better strategy on how I'm going to fix that, by all means, I'd love to hear it. But I'm really hoping that Young plays. If Young plays, it fixes all my dilemmas. Even if Marty Horf comes on, I can use him as an E. And I can work out what's best to do with my side. But it's so team dependent. Like if you don't have the rookies to cover Stewart, Young, and you're obviously both in your back line, you can't DPP Young into your back line. You're gonna have to trade them out. So it's horses for courses with your team. That's the side going into the round potentially. I do love a good last minute Chris Scott late change and whatever, just because the team's just been thrown out the window and I've gone nuts. Anyway, VC and C, thank you for sticking around. Dacos into Bont. Unless I see anything else that's cooking, I'll let you guys know. Sunday night streams are still going to be a thing around 6:30, 7 o'clock. Probably do them for a couple of hours. I don't mind at all. And then if I do a weekly stream, that won't be posted on YouTube. That will just be a random Brad's bored and wants to do a stream and talk about footy, etc. But the Sunday night streams will be purely Supercoach based. It was a lot of fun the other night. My heart rate was through the roof with some of the segments, like it was pretty good fun. So thanks everyone for liking and subbing and jumping on the stream too. I appreciate all the feedback and all the funny comments that you guys are throwing in and the regulars and even the new viewers I've had. I can't thank you enough. It actually entertains my Sunday night and just my day in general. So I always look forward to them. Thanks again for everyone stopping by. I'll catch you on the next. We'll do like a Wednesday preview, I believe.